Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a Ford Explorer in the King Ranch trim level at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview. It's a separate video. So first I want to point out that you can turn off all the exterior lights when the engine's running by simply turning the headlight switch off. Some vehicles, even when you turn the headlight switch off, there's still some exterior light on, but this one can completely go dark. When you hit the unlock button, it will turn on lights on all four corners of the vehicle. Also, these approach lights that are on the side mirrors that illuminate the ground, so you can see if there's any puddles or anything when you approach the vehicle. And also having the exterior lights here on the front and back is a good safety feature for, especially when you're around other traffic. Now I have the parking lights on, and when you turn on the parking lights, here in the front there's an amber side marker that turns on. There's also a white LED strip that's across the top of the headlight housing, and you can see it goes around from the side all the way to the front. And it's nice, it's pretty bright. You probably will not mistake these for headlights, but they put off a pretty significant amount of light here on the front. In the back, you have a fairly bright tail light LED soft glow back here. It looks a little orangey on camera, but it is a red color. Also, the tag lights are turned on, and they kind of look like they're just kind of standard bulbs, but they do illuminate the ground behind the vehicle a little bit. Now I have the turn signal on. It's pretty bright. It's an LED strip just below that white strip there. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see it's just below it, and it's amber in color, LED, nice and bright. And you can mostly see it from the front though. It does have an amber side marker here on the side mirror. It's visible from the front, the side, and the back. And then there's the tail light in the back, which is a standard bulb, surprisingly. Turn the brightness down so you can see it's an amber color. It's amber, but and the rest of the tail light's red. It's hard to tell. The camera kind of makes it look all kind of the same color, but it is a nice bright amber color. So let's turn the headlights on. I'm going to show you what it looks like going down the road as well, but there's the low beams. And the low beams have a cutoff there. There's the high beams, there's the low beams. So let's take a look at the low beams here so you can see what it looks like. It's a nice bright reflector LED system, and it's pretty good size reflector. Some vehicles have this little itty bitty reflectors. This one has a nice big one. So let me once again turn the brightness down, because it is a pretty bright system, so we can see what it looks like, hopefully. You can see in there it's an LED. There's multiple LEDs in there in that big reflector. I don't know if you can see that. This is the low beams here. The fog lights are a multi-reflector. There's 4 little reflectors here for the fog lights. So there's the 4 multi-reflectors there in the fog lights. And now for the high beams. So you can see it's a much higher position. Now the fog lights turn off when you turn on the high beams. And now it's that inner portion that's added in to the outer portion. So instead of just having one light that's refocused, this one actually has additional lights here, which is nice. You can see how bright they are. Completely blow out the camera. You can see that higher position for the inner portion there, which is your high beam, and then the lower portion on the right. So it's all a reflector, large reflector LED system. So looking at the cargo area, I had to turn the brightness significantly higher than what your eyes would actually see, just so you can see what's going on back here, because there's one light here on the right side, and there's some backlit buttons here right above them, above that light, for folding the seats down. But that one light, and it's kind of like in a little tunnel there, and it just kind of shoots light straight out. And in my case, it gets blocked by the first thing in the cargo area, and then it has all this dark area. And it's really been an issue with trying to get my equipment ready and stuff. That one little light just does not cut it, and it's a very low position, and it's kind of bright, but it's only bright right there in front of it. It's real easy for it to just fade out really fast. So if it had another light on the other side, and maybe another light above here, maybe underneath this hatch maybe, would be nice to have some additional lights, but it's just very, very lacking. I was really surprised. I mean, Ford usually does a pretty decent job, but there's some more disappointments coming up. At least they backlit illuminated the buttons to close the hatch, so that's good. The inside of the back door, you can notice it has these red color lights here in the handle, and here in the pocket at the bottom. There's also a little finder light for the power window, so you can find that in the dark, which is pretty cool. Now these lights are red. I actually have the ambient light set to purple. I don't know if you see that on the other side. So when you open the door, it shows that the door is not completely shut if it's red. Once you shut the door, it turns purple, which is, I think that's a pretty cool feature. You can see the third row is illuminated by these two lights there in the center. They're like dome lights, and they basically illuminate just the center of the seat for the most part, and a little bit of light kind of spills around the outside, but it's mostly concentrated there in the center of the seat. Of course, the black carpet in here doesn't help reflect the light, but it diminishes quite a bit outside the center of the seat. Second row is illuminated by these two lights. It's actually two pairs of lights on either side of the sunroof, and they kind of illuminate there in the center of each seat, and it's a little bit better here in the second row than the third row. It illuminates the floor a little bit, the center compartment pretty decently. There's also some backlit buttons here for the climate control and heated seats back here, that kind of stuff. There's also some purple lights that are coming from underneath the seats, the front seats, kind of floorboard illumination, and that's part of the ambient lights then, which you can adjust the color. The inside of the front door, it has, once again, we have red lights because we have the doors open. You can see the red light there. There's backlit illuminated buttons here and here. All for your controls are all illuminated. Then there's a pocket light there. There is a little bit of light there in the floorboard, and this purple, because I have it set for purple. There's some backlit illuminated buttons for the headlights and stuff. And the lights here in the front are these center, basically the map lights are just turned on. These map kind of shine in your lap, basically. And they do a decent job of illuminating the center. Which, like I said, there's some disappointments coming up. Okay, I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I have the door open so we can see what the interior lights look like from the first person view. And you can see the light's red here. Let's go ahead and shut the door. Now it's purple. Has a little flicker to it. That's from the camera. I adjusted the camera pretty good, and there always seems to be a little bit of a flicker on some of these lights, so you just have to put up with it, I guess. So there's some backlit buttons here on the steering wheel. And the gauges, basically the screen here. You can adjust the brightness. I'm going to bring it down so you can see the range. It gets quite bright. And it also adjusts the screen as well. You can see it adjusts quite a bit. Might as well turn it on all the way because some parts are kind of dark. So the screen is really nice looking for the most part, except for the camera system. You can turn on the camera so you can see it's kind of small, and I mean, you can see pretty good, but I think the layout of the screen could be a lot better as far as that goes. As far as the navigation, I think the navigation looks great. Nighttime or daytime. So there's a climate control backlit buttons. Let me go ahead and turn on the climate control because you can see has the temperatures there. But you notice there's some dark spots here, but this opens up and there's light in here, which is nice, which is really good. Glad to see that, at least that light in there, because it would be super dark if it didn't have a light there. And these cup holders here, which cup holders, the way it's illuminated, put a bottle of water there, it illuminates the water too. The flickering, like I said, is just a camera. It's something have to do with the camera frame rate. All right, there's some backlit buttons there, but you notice there's this kind of like ambient light here, this kind of soft moonlight, and you follow that up all the way up to here, and these little guys right here and here, and it really helps out in really dark areas in which you have just a little bit of soft background kind of moonlight. And I really like it when vehicles have these. And of course, while we're up here, you can see the backlit buttons and all that. There's also you can turn on all the interior lights. You can turn on just one of these like so. Also, while we're up here, the mirror and lights, little vanity lights there, they're really bright though. Kind of lose your night vision by looking in the mirror. All right, so continuing on. So that nice, you see that ambient light, or that soft background light here. But let's go into this compartment because it's completely dark. Can you see anything? Can't see anything. So basically, let me get my helping hand here because we're going to need it. So you can see this whole compartment here goes way down in there. There's all kinds of stuff in there, but we can't see anything because there's no light whatsoever. So that's a big disappointment, having a compartment like that that's dark, obviously dark, and you need light to see in there. I mean, that's a big miss. Another big miss is the glove compartment. Can you even see the glove compartment? I just opened it up. It's right there. I just opened it up, and look how big it is. Have all this stuff in there, and you can't even see it at nighttime. So the only way for you to see in these pockets is either to have some kind of flashlight, or turn on the interior lights, and then you can see in there, and you can see somewhat in here. But I mean, vehicles like from the 70s had lights in the glove compartment. I mean, I'm not sure what the deal is with a lot of modern vehicles where they're just dropping that off as if that's acceptable. It's not in my mind, especially the compartments. So you have these accent lighting, mostly just for looks, to be cool, but then you miss out on key functional lights, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is not a cheap vehicle, a little light bulb in the glove compartment or the center console would make things a lot better. I mean, it's already going fairly decent so far. When I saw those two things, it's just really disappointing. So let's go to the settings, then ambient light, and then here's the different ambient light settings. And there's what I had it set there. Now you can adjust you can turn it on or off, and then you can adjust the brightness going this way. So it's kind of half bright, a little bit dimmer. And then let's go with green, so we can see what green looks like. And then red. Blue. There's another one that looks blue to me, so I guess this is like a deeper blue, or maybe more on the purple range. Then there's an orange. And then there's like a teal color, which is nice. So you'll notice this cutoff here, right around in this area, that in the trees. As we drive, you can see there's low beams and high beams. That cutoff basically will be intended to be lower than the eyeballs of oncoming cars, basically, or cars in front of me in general, so that way it doesn't blind them. But let's see what it looks like. I have the automatic high beams turned on, and I may have to turn those off because they have been an issue. They have been a big issue. And I just want to mention that the vehicles that I've had an issue with, I have made sure that the windshield's clean. Because if the sensor is dirty or whatever, then it's going to give mixed results. But even with the sensor clean and everything, sometimes this vehicle will flash cars and stuff. So, you know, just something to think about. It could be this particular vehicle, but I have had some other Fords that had issue with the automatic high beam. Some of them been great, some of them been not so great. All right, so you can see it layer on the fence, this cutoff. So you can see as I go up and down these hills here, that cutoff stays good when I'm going downhill. But as I go uphill, it raises up quite a bit and could potentially shine in the eyes of the oncoming traffic. But on that side, there's a little dip there. It's a little bit lower on that oncoming traffic side. And as we go along, you might be able to see it. So that way, even if you're going uphill a little bit, it tries to avoid at least the oncoming traffic lane from blinding them, because they are fairly bright headlights. So, you know, you really don't want to have issues with blinding other people with these bright headlights. Bright white LED headlights ruin your night vision. Kind of like the vanity lights on the mirror. Okay, so far the automatic high beams have been okay. Alright, so now we've got a nice dark road right now. And yeah, the high beams are excellent right now. Hopefully you can see. I have the brightness a little bit high on the camera just so you can see the pattern and everything. But still, it is a really excellent headlight system. Okay, so automatic high beams are working good right now. You just can't trust them 100%. You have to be just prepared to turn them off, just in case it starts flashing somebody or blinding somebody. Yeah, look at that. You can see the trees in the background. And I like the fact that it has a low beam and a high beam separate, so that way it adds additional light for those high beams. So that way it's not spreading the light too thin. You know, some vehicles, it seems like the high beams are dimmer because they have to spread the light in a broader area. So, but these are really good, having that low and high beams. The reflector system is really good.